A very good evening to each one of you, and welcome to day two, session two of our Her Tech Igniting Women's Digital Future series. I'm sure that many of you have been through day one and you're quite excited. I hope that you have learned something so far, and I hope the same energy that you have over the past 2 days is the energy that you'll have tonight as we move into a very critical area as well. So, welcome on a Friday evening. When you say Friday evening, 6 o'clock session, you know those that are really committed attend the Friday evening session. So, congratulations, well done, and I really appreciate, or we really appreciate your attendance on this Friday evening. We wish you all the best in this particular session, and I know it's going to be an exciting session from what I see lined up for us. But at this time, let me officially invite Dr. Salosh Govender, and she's going to do an opening and welcome for us tonight. Dr. Salosh Govender, thank you so much. Let me hand over to you.
Thank you, Denzel. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to the third day of the series, Her Tech, Igniting Women's Digital Futures. I'm Dr. Salosh Govender, and I'm an education consultant at UNISA, helping academics to develop curriculum. I'm also a very, very proud member of the Academic Development Open Virtual Hub, and you will see me quite often, like the other members. It is an absolute pleasure to see you all here again, continuing this exciting journey with us. And I hope you are as energized and motivated as we are to keep building on the incredible work that we have done so far. For those of you who are joining us for the first day today, let me give you a quick overview of what this project is all about. Her Tech, Igniting Women's Digital Futures, is designed to equip women with the digital skills, knowledge, competencies needed to succeed in the rapidly changing tech industry. We all know that gender disparities in tech are still a significant issue, and this series is our way of tackling that challenge. We are here to create opportunities for you, to upskill you, to empower you, and to provide opportunities so that you can participate meaningfully in the digital economy, not only to lead, but also to innovate within the tech industry. Throughout this project, you will have access to workshops, mentorship programs, and networking events to support you at every stage of your digital journey, whether you are just starting out or whether you are already making strides in the tech industry. Colleagues, now that you have a sense of what this project is all about, let's take a moment to reflect on what has been done so far. So on day one, we kicked off the series with a very, very inspiring launch, where we heard stories from successful women in tech whose journeys and achievements set a powerful tone for what we aim to accomplish together. We also discussed the scope of the project and what we can all look forward to in this project. Yesterday on day two, we engaged with hands-on activities, working directly on the LMS site. The link to the site will be shared again on the chat. So colleagues, please look at the chat as there will be very important information shared for you. So please, yeah. So the focus on day two was on digital basics, where we introduced fundamentals of, digital devices, operating systems, the cloud computing, and so on. We also addressed some of the gender-specific challenges women face in technology, and I hope you found the practical activities enlightening. Right, and you were also required to participate in 2 homework activities. And colleagues, I hope that you all did participate because it's one way of enriching your own experience. Remember that being an online student, we focus on self-directed learning as well. Right, so in order for you to optimize the learning for this course or for this project, we would like you to commit to participating and completing the activities. If you feel that you're lost, in completing the activities while the facilitator is facilitating, Please do not feel despondent. It's always a chance for you to go back on the LMS and to complete it in your own time. That's what an online learner is all about. Okay, so let's see what's today's agenda. Right, today we have another exciting session lined up as we dive into the crucial aspect of the web browsing. Right, we are going to learn about navigating the web and building a professional online presence. And colleagues, for those of you who don't know, you know what a web is, just in simple terms, it's like a worldwide mixture of resources, including images, books, videos. And the important thing is for you to be able to have good searching techniques, good filtering techniques to access the information that you really want so that you can make your learning efficient. And this is what you're going to learn today, right? For those of you who have been with us over the past 2 days, you've already seen and had the pleasure of meeting the dynamic facilitators who are going to present today, namely Mr. Richard Wright, Mr. David Harperstad, and Dr. Ingrid Murray. So they are going to be the facilitators for today's session. So colleagues, as we move forward, I want to encourage you to please participate in the activities, and also please post your comments, your views, your thoughts using the chat function. You'll find the chat function on the top right corner of your team screen, so please take advantage of that there. That's one way of us engaging and interacting. Colleagues, I also want to say that over the past 2 days, we've seen very good interaction with many students. Some have been encouraging other students to, keep on going with the work. Some have been helping other peers in the platform. And this is actually what a digital community is all about. So please keep on engaging and let's maximize the learning. So let's make today another great day of learning and growth towards igniting our digital futures. Thank you, and over to Mr. Richard Wright.
Thank you, Salosh, for that introduction. So, guys, we do have quite an exciting lineup for today. I saw there's some people in the chat just mentioning poor network. I'll ask the colleagues just to share the link to the YouTube stream as well. Sometimes that does help a little bit on the bandwidth. So just a quick recap is to where to access the resources if you perhaps missed this yesterday. So remember, I posted a link in the chat. Go and visit adovh.unisa.ac.za. You'll see this big banner to say HERTech Igniting Women's Digital Future Series. You click on the banner and that will open up where you can get all the resources. Now, most importantly is the one to click to join the learning community. But what I want to do is also show you on the platform. So if you open up this page, this is what you should see. I'll post a direct link as well in case you missed the initial one. Now, on this page, we do have added all the resources. So as you can see, here was the join link. So this one will be removed. This is the community link. So remember to click on that one to join the community. If you missed the launch, this is where you can watch the launch video again. We've also added the pre-assessment. So remember, if you're new, if you haven't started with activities, please complete the pre-assessment first. You just click on this button over here and it will open up the pre-assessment. Now we've already added session 1 and session 2. So remember, today we're in session 2. So on session 1, we've added the recording, but we've also added the download the presentation. So if you want to go through the presentation, perhaps more in detail, because there is a lot of information on the slides, you can download the presentation from here as well. And then we've added direct links for all the activities. So that this way you can ensure that you've covered all the activities that needs to be done. Now in session 2, it's exactly the same. If you are struggling, you can actually come and watch here on YouTube. And remember, you can always still participate in the chat. If you have Teams on your phone, just open up the chat. We can still help you within the chat as well, but we do also have a look at the chat on YouTube. So the presentation for tonight also very loaded with information. You can download the presentation from here in PDF format. We've got direct links to the activities. And at the end of the session, we'll come back and we'll just finish the post-assessment before the end of tonight's session. So please go have a look at the resources on here. Everything is there. And remember, if you're starting also afterwards, if you're watching this recording, for instance, this is the open platform. You can complete this at any time. Now, just a reminder, the learning community, once you click on it, you will need to log in with your MyLife email account. If you're not joined yet, you can click on the join button, but if you hover over it, it says leave, that means you've already been added. Our community is really growing. We're already 750. So just in the last day, it grew by another 100 student members as well. So really make this community your own. This is where you can really interact, ask questions. We can assist you, fellow community people can assist you as well. I just want to highlight the pinned links. So these are all the activity links. At the bottom, we've also added recordings links as well. So it will take you to this main page. So there's quite a few ways you can access, the resources for this community. Let me just go back to my presentation. So yeah, just remember, you need to log in with your MyLife email. If you have any problems logging in or joining community, please email us at adobh@unisa.ac.za. And remember, most importantly, make sure that you click on the join button. This means you will stay up to date with any big announcements and activity that happens on the site. Now, tonight's session, we're going to go all the way into internet skills and online safety, navigating the web and building a professional online presence. So we're really going to start off with, web browser, just so that everybody can be on the same page as we build upon, these fundamental concepts of the tools you can use in a web browser. So even if you already know web browser, I'm sure there's actually going to be something for you, such as the immersive reader. We're going to do collections, all additional things that you might not have used before. And all of this will give you the skills to navigate the internet efficiently, conduct research, and present yourself effectively in the digital world. But most importantly, to do that safely, so that you stay safe always online. So we've got quite a few learning outcomes. How to utilize advanced search techniques. When you do search, how do you use keywords? What are some of the operators you can use to really refine your search? How do you evaluate online resources so to make sure that it is credible? How do you manage all the information you get? So that's where collections and various tools come in. How to maintain a professional online profile. Remember, the world these days is all about continuous learning. So this is where you actually start already. You have to start early building up your LinkedIn profiles, for instance, or to various professional bodies. You add to it experience that you gain, because that's what the industry is looking at. It's not necessarily just your degree. They want to see continuous learning with the evolving technologies. And also how to effectively engage in online academic discussions, how to showcase your achievements and skills. And, with these showcasing your skills, as we're going to go in the future to the more advanced sections, we will actually show you how to do your own online portfolio. To almost like a blog that you can create. So there's still a lot coming in that space as well. And then most importantly, identifying and access various digital learning resources. What resources are available within the institution, outside of the institution, and what are perhaps some resources that's not considered necessarily learning resources, but still provides a wealth of information. So with that, I'm going to hand over to Mr. Hafestad, who will show you all about what a web browser can do. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Richard, and good evening, everyone. I hope you guys are well. It's a little bit chilly out there. I hope you're keeping warm. I'm just waiting for MS Teams to catch up with me. I'm just trying to share my screen, and occasionally it does take a few seconds longer than it should. So yes, we're going to look at web browsers, guys. So you know what a web browser is. Remember, it's software. Remember that what we learned yesterday, that we've got your hardware, we've got the software that runs on your operating system. Remember, your operating system controls all the hardware for you. So yes, we've got our software and it's our web browser. So as you know, everybody wants to be on the internet, accessing web pages and all sorts of things. And that's really what your web browser is about. So that's really why it's important for you to know how to use a web browser. As you're going to see tonight, there's actually quite a few things you can actually do with a web browser, especially Microsoft Edge, which is going to really be useful for you. So hopefully you guys will just keep going with us and let's continue. I know it's a Friday, so let's have some fun, hey? Okay, so we're going to learn how to use a web browser. So this is very important. So the things I'm going to show you, make sure you see what I'm doing. Even if you can't do it at the same time, just see what I'm doing. Remember, there is a recording. And then with your activities, you're going to need to do these things that I've just showed you. So please do keep your eyes peeled on your screens. Okay, so what is the internet? And I'd like to actually see some answers in the chat. So let's get going. Let's get those fingers warm. In your own words, what is the internet? Now, don't cheat and don't use Google or any AI program. So to give you the answer, let's see what you guys come up with. So what is the internet? So I'm just going to quickly jump to the chat. Not this chat. Okay, so what is the internet? Let's see if anybody has typed in the answer yet. Any brave people out there? Okay, the internet is a worldwide place to gather information. Thank you. A platform to access. Wow, now things moving. Create and share data, information-based, interconnected web browsers. Interesting answer. It's a cloud that has information or data. It's a place to get information. I'm glad nobody's actually saying it's a place where I download movies and music. Okay, so that's good. Internet's a place where you get lots of information. World's largest library. Excellent. That's such an awesome answer. Internet makes our lives easier. Okay, now you guys are answering so quickly, I'm not going to be able to read it all. Okay, so I see a lot of answers are coming in. So guys, you all are pretty much on the right track. So if you just see, there we go. So the internet really is a system of interconnected computers all over the world. Okay, so we've got all these computers connected to each other or servers, and they're all speaking to each other through the internet. And they use what we call the internet protocols, all the different ways that the rules that allow the computers to talk to each other. So that's really what the internet is. So it's a lot of computers all over the world that we've got a lot of information that we are sharing. Some it's public, some it's private for business, but really that's what it's about. So it allows us to communicate with everybody. Great to do business with everybody, like your Amazon, your Temu, you know, see how easy it is to use the internet to buy things overseas. Learn and share knowledge. So yes, play games, online gaming, really, really awesome, fun stuff. If you haven't played an online game, you've got to try that, guys, at least once in your life. Tick it off your bucket list. So yes, that allows us really to connect to people we've never seen before. And that's why our Minecraft tournament was so awesome, because we had students playing all over the country, playing against each other, never met each other, but formed wonderful teams. So it just shows you it also has that benefit of socializing. So benefits of the internet, guys, there are so many benefits. I mean, from finding anything you want to find, you can really much find it on the internet. But of course, there is an element that you need to kind of understand what you're looking at and is the information reliable or not. Unfortunately, with human beings, there's always the fakeness that comes in. You know, you always see people posting nonsense. Someone's died and everyone thinks, this person died, and then you find out, no, it's fake news. But really, the internet saves a lot of costs, guys, because it's easy accessible. In other words, I don't have to drive to the library anymore. I can simply access it on UNISA. It's very fast. You can do business. There's opportunities galore. There's a lot of useful information that is so easy to connect to. Courses that you can do for free. Saves you a lot of time. So there are so many benefits. I mean, you'll see the graphic on your screen from communicating to banking to medicine and drugs. Just take note of something, and this comes up quite often. People like to search on the internet some of the symptoms they've got, and then of course Google would pop out, or an AI would pop out some sort of disease, and the person thinks now they're really, really ill, where it could have just been something really simple. So be careful of what you think the answers from the internet. It's not always going to be exactly correct, okay? Because remember, it's just sort of guessing at some point. And there's different ways to actually use the internet. Of course, entertainment and job, and you can do almost everything on the internet. So if you don't have a skill, you can actually learn it on the internet. So what are some of the setbacks though, okay? So obviously with everything that's good, there's always a bad side. Addiction, yes, definitely. Especially younger people, they seem to be very addicted to their phones or tablets, and they're forever in social media. So yes, that's true. Bullying, cyberbullying, when you post stuff out there and people just want to comment because they really want to feel like they've got some sort of power over you or for whatever reason. So yes, you need to be prepared for those type of comments. So if you're in that sort of field, yep, it does happen. Spamming and advertising, violent content, oh yeah, that happens a lot. Obviously the adult content, which is also a big problem because it's very addictive. People get hooked on that. Yes, it is out there as well, and it's so easy to access. So that's very scary actually. So if you've got younger kids, guys, please make sure you use some software that prevents such things from being viewed. There are some good softwares out there, and normally your ISP should be able to provide that to you. So how do we connect to the internet? Well, nowadays, absolutely almost everything is connected to the internet. Quite literally, your oven, your TV, your fridge, all of these systems are going to actually work together where you can sit somewhere and you can actually access your devices at home. Our colleague yesterday that was with us, Prof. Sheila, she's got quite a nice Mercedes-Benz. I don't mind sharing that with you. And she can use her mobile phone to remotely log into a car and actually start the car to warm it up. That's it, using the internet. Yes, guys, that's possible. Okay, and we were in KwaZulu-Natal, mind you, and a car was sitting somewhere in Gauteng. So that's the power of the internet. It really allows you to connect any devices to any other devices, that you can actually go and use these things wherever you are, whenever you are. We've got service providers. I mean, those are all over the internet. You'll know the Vodacoms and the Telcoms and the Vumas and all these guys who provide you internet services, mostly through fiber, because that's sort of quick and easy way of doing it. But of course, you also do have your data that you can buy through the Vodacoms and whatnot. Now, we do give you a little list over here of laptops and desktops and mobile phones and tablets and modems, as you heard yesterday, smartphones, smart glasses, watches. I mean, all these things now are so connected to each other, and they pretty much all want to be on the internet. Of course, the updates, okay, kind of needs that, comes through the internet as well. So pretty much everything is connecting to the internet. So what is really then the difference between the internet and the web? Again, let's see some answers in the chat. Now, I just described what the internet is, right? So what exactly is then the web? What is the difference between the two? And again, let's quickly have a look at some of the answers that are coming in. All right, yes, crikey, that's a bit scary. You're searching for a recipe and something else popped up. Yep, that might be the wrong type of recipe, I'm guessing. So yes, you got to have those sort of adult content blockers on, guys. That would definitely help. Thanks for sharing there, Chloe. Just think, guys, what is the difference between the internet and the web? Because you tend to hear people talk about the internet a lot, or sometimes you might hear the web coming up. So really, what is the difference? Web is a communication path. Very nice. Web is the search using the internet. Cool. Web is the address where you'll get the data. Good. Web is a part of the internet. Yep, it definitely is. The same thing. Okay, well, yes, it's the difference between like a notepad and a laptop. Before, it used to be quite different. Nowadays, it's pretty much the same thing. The web is the actual page. Now, that's a super answer. The web is within the internet. Fantastic. Okay, now see you guys are now just spamming all the chats there. Thank you. Okay, but that's great. That's what we want to see. So well done, guys. Lots of good answers there. So yes, the internet is really the backbone, and the web is all the things that you're accessing, the pages, the banking, all that type of stuff. So that's really is the fun side of the thing is actually the web. The internet is just the backbone. You don't really interact with it that much. And of course, the web is where you access everything. There is something called the dark web. Did you guys know about this? Okay, so the dark web is something that, as a white hat hacker, is something where you're taught to basically go and sort of snip around in. You don't really want to go there, and it's very interesting how you get there, but that's a place that you don't really want to go if you don't know what you're doing or you don't have a clue what those people out there can do. So the dark web is also where people steal data, and that's also where they throw it. Okay, because people buy and sell things illegally, mostly in the dark web. So yeah, so that's also quite interesting. So if you hear about the dark web, then you know that that's a place you don't really want to be. So what is a website, guys? That is the pages and the graphics, like MyUnisa, for example, where you go and log in to access the learning management system. So that's a website. So it has a purpose, it sells things to you like Amazon and Takealot, and that's really how you go and access the websites. But how do you actually access them is actually what is the web browser. Okay, so your web browser is the software that allows you to access the internet. And of course, the websites, that's what's called a web browser. So cool. So I know some of the terminology, and you know with terminology they always throw it out, especially IT people. So at least now you've got pretty much a good idea between these guys. And there we go. So there's the website. Nice example. So it's a collection of lots of pages and videos and links, and it's created with the hypertext markup language, which is called HTML, hypertext markup language. So that's the language you use to create web pages. Of course, nowadays we've got so many different languages that we can actually use, but pretty much we build it all on the HTML programming language. Actually, very, very easy language that you can actually learn, and you can actually create some little web pages on your desktop or laptop PC. You don't even need the internet, and you can actually create it at home and have fun with it. So it's actually a very easy one to get into. So if you're interested in that type of thing, have a look at it. So yes, and the website then is made available to everybody through the internet, and that's how you access it. So here's a nice little diagram. So you've got your computer, you connect to the cloud. Okay, there we go, the internet, and that's how you access the web server where the data is actually stored for that website. All right, so that's how you access it. Now your browser, as I said to you, some of the stuff you might know, guys, but it's just important that you guys are aware of all these things. So let's quickly run through this. So the first thing is you've got your features of a browser. You've got your address bar, right? And we type in the address, and now sometimes the address is called a URL, a uniform resource locator. Yes, the URL is a uniform resource locator, but we simply just call it a web page, to be honest. And there's an example there, adov.unisa.ac.za. So that's the uniform resource locator, and your browser will use this. It'll actually connect to the web server, which has a whole bunch of numbers attached to it, and it'll actually find it for you. So a lot of things happen in the background that you don't even know about. So the domain name service basically takes that name that you've typed in and it matches it up to an IP address, and then it connects to the server that hosts that IP address. IP address, guys, is basically, what's the IP stand for again, Richard? I've gone blank. Internet protocol, right? Yeah, so it's basically a number that is assigned to every single device on the planet, has its own unique IP address, which allows you then to be able to connect to that device wherever in the world it is. And it's billions and billions and billions of devices that have IP addresses, and there's different ways they work it out. It's a very technical thing, but that's pretty much what it does. So how does it work? You just type in the URL, and as I said, everything in the background actually helps you. And then this information sent to the web server that owns that IP address, and then the web server says, yes, you can access it, and it sends the web back to you. And that's how you access a web page. Now, the nice thing is, guys, with the modern browsers, you can actually have lots of tabs. So yeah, you can see them. In other words, one software program that you're using, whichever browser it is, you can have multiple pages running in that one browser. So tabs are very useful. Many pages you can open them and you can run with them. Just remember, hey, the more pages you have opening, it will affect your computer's performance or your device's performance, and of course the internet connection that you're using. So when it comes to exams, especially like exams, please make sure you don't have all these tabs running. Just have the ones, the minimum that you need. So you absolutely concentrate all your data on those specific tabs. So just be careful. I see lots of staff and students, when they have problems with their device, they bring it to me and they've got like 600 tabs open, quite literally. Then you have to go and close them all and whatnot because it slows it down. So just make it sure that you don't have too many. But yes, it does make your life a lot easier because now I can just jump between the web pages. Bookmarks are also very, very useful. So those pages that you go to often, you don't have to go type it in. You simply just bookmark it and then you can quickly click on it and jump back where you were before. So it's a nice way of organizing all your web pages. So that's also useful, especially if you've got a lot of pages that you'd like to use. And this what we're looking at now is pretty much what we're going to show you in Chrome, but we're also going to look at Microsoft Edge a little bit later. So what are the basic features of a web browser? So what can they actually tell you? So yes, the web browser does have a history. So it can go see exactly what you've been looking at. Yes, guys, the privacy issue always comes up. So it's a good idea to clear your history, your web browser, the cache they call it, and the cookies. I'm sure you've heard this already somewhere. So it's good just to clear out your web browser because it'll just run a lot faster. Otherwise, if you keep all your history and all the cookies and all the things that download, it actually does slow down your web browser. So clearing your history is not necessarily a bad thing. But of course, if you've gone to a web page and you can't remember exactly where you were, then the history can actually help you. So that's quite nice as well. Then, of course, you've got extensions and add-ons, okay, like, for example, Grammarly and Iris that you guys unfortunately have to use, those that need to use it. So yes, so your extensions, your add-ons are basically just little programs that run within your browser for a specific reason, okay? So it's like small little programs, if you like. For example, Grammarly, if you know that one, it's there to help you with your typing, and it does have some AI capabilities. So it will actually say to you, this grammar that you've typed in is wrong, your tenses are wrong, and it can help you with spelling and all that type of thing. So it's really, really fun and cool to use. I think that one does come with a price though. So I don't know if it does still have a free feature, but I think it's something you might need to buy depending on which level you go to. So just take note of that. But yes, so that's really why we have extensions like Iris now. We use it for the exams, and that's basically why we use that. So you've got ad blockers and password managers. So these little programs run with your web browser to obviously enhance what you're doing and protecting you. But be careful. Don't just go add extensions if you don't really know what they are about and what exactly are they doing. Most of these are sort of approved, okay, by Chrome and those guys, but just make sure that you are aware that, yeah, the more you have, most likely it will slow you down at some point. Okay, cool. So let's have a quick look at our demo. So let's go have a see, and I'm going to use Google Chrome. So I've just opened Chrome as you guys saw yesterday. So there's my address bar. So if I start typing in, can you see it? It actually remembers. There's a little bit of my history there. It actually says I was on this website and this website for this one, the booking for getting your ID and smart ID, guys. Yes, it's actually quite cool. If you can book yourself, it actually works really well. And then it sort of picks up, okay, this is what you're looking at. So you'll see your address bar there is basically telling me this is all what I can find based on what I typed in. Now within Google, of course, you do have your search little bar, which is also then doing this information that's really pointing out to say, okay, this is everything I'm picking up using the keywords that I'm typing in. So keywords are quite important, and we will deal with them a little bit later. And hopefully I'll show you some things you might not know about the keywords that can help you with your searches. So address bar, quite nice. Let's quickly do this one, Sky Sports. And you see that already picks up at, hey, previously I've already accessed this website, okay? Because it's looking at my history. So it already knows that, oh, okay, I've actually looked at Sky Sports. It's deadline day today, guys. So the ladies that love football, that's why I was actually checking this out. So there we go. So that's your address bar over there. Nice and easy. Right, what's the next thing? Okay, tabs. Okay, so there we go. So there's my current tab. But now I'm saying, okay, I'm looking at soccer. So let me go and quickly look at, let's go to YouTube. So while I'm busy doing this, I want to maybe listen to some music. And then I can actually see there's our live event. Okay, you can actually see it streaming. Exactly what I was showing you guys. It's probably running a few seconds later. So hopefully those students, you guys, you can see that we actually are there as well. And there we go. So now you'll see there's another tab running over there. So by clicking this little plus, it opens a new tab. And then of course you can also close the tab by clicking on the X. If this is running sound, let me just quickly see if I can get it going. Might be a little bit tricky because I'm going to be playing sound on my side. Okay, so there you'll notice now, just pause the sound, but you'll notice there's a little sound thing that popped up there, which basically tells me this tab that you're running is actually running some sound. So just in case you weren't aware of it, you can actually go mute it. Now, because I paused it, the little icon disappears. So if you right click on it, you'll see there is some options like mute sound. So that's quite useful. All right, so if someone calls you on Teams, you don't have to close the thing. You can simply just say mute the sound for now and answer the call or whatever it may be. So that's kind of useful as well, just to tell you which pages is using sound, because remember, if it's streaming something, it's eating bandwidth, your data, hey, which slows everything down if you're doing lots of different things. Okay, so that one we've covered. Let's go have a look. Bookmarks. Now, as you saw, Sky Sports, love it, need to be here. On the top right-hand corner, you'll see the little dot, dot, dot. We call it the eclipse. All right, so there it is, the dot, dot, dot. You click on it and it always gives you menus. So wherever you see this little guy, usually means I've got a menu for you. All right, so then I can go to my bookmarks. So I can say bookmark this tab, bookmark all the tabs that I've got open. So you see it really picks up. I've got multiple tabs running. So that's nice. And then you've got all these other little features that you can actually run through. So if I go to other bookmarks, you can see they've actually saved the video, the YouTube link, so it really remembers me. So let me say I'm going to bookmark this tab. I'm going to put it under another folder, and I'm going to call that folder, click on new. I'm just going to say sports, and I click on yes. Okay, so there we go. Hopefully that bookmark, that went very quick. All right, and let's quickly go see it. There it is, sports, and there it is. So remember, guys, the whole point of bookmarks is to save all those things that you don't want to necessarily type in, but you want to just keep them for quick access, for reference, then you can do that. So go and practice this. Just remember, guys, this is recorded, it's on YouTube. So when you want to go practice these things or see how I did it, you can just go back and watch it again. So that's how we bookmark. But there's lots of other things you can go check around in the bookmark, like the bookmark manager, and go see how it works. This is where you need to explore a bit, eh? And have a look at bookmarks. Then the other one is the history. So if I go straight to history and then immediately can start telling me these are all the things I've been looking at recently. And you'll notice that it also tells you which devices, okay? Because, for example, with Google, because I can use my phone, I can use the laptop or my tablet, it'll actually tell me, okay, there are other devices that you've used, and this is actually what you've used them for as well. So it's kind of cool like that. So it actually picks up everything that I'm actually looking at across my devices, which is quite fun. So that's so nice and easy for you to find it. Also have a look at this really cool feature called Google Lens. This is also quite nice, where you can actually take a picture. All right, let me take a picture of this young man. And then what it does is, as you guys can see, I've taken basically a picture. It uses this image. AI then jumps in and says, I can find more information about that image that you've just posted. And there we go. This is one of the footballers that plays currently for Brentford. So there we go. How cool is that feature, guys? So it's called Google Lens. Please go play around with it. But it's really, really fun. And you can actually just basically do that, and let's see what else it does. Now it's going to try and find both of these guys, and there we go. And it even tells me which clubs we're interested in, all sorts of things, as an example. So Google Lens, kind of fun. Also go and play around with it. This is really nice AI-powered technology coming through. Then the other little guy is your extensions. Now you'll notice it's over here, or you can simply go look for it over here. So it doesn't matter, whichever one is fine. And as I said to you, there's lots of different extensions that you can go look up, like Grammarly. So if you type it in, oh, I don't have Grammarly. Ooh, I don't even have Grammarly on mine. Okay, I must actually see why it's not installed. But it tells me these are the ones currently I've got installed. And you can also then go and play around a little bit with installing them, managing them. Okay, that's fine. Yep, so go have a look at what other extensions you can actually go and get. Because they are, some of them are pretty useful, but some of them you might not need. This one, LibKey, is actually very, very useful, guys, especially if you're doing research, because this one kind of allows to access all the UNISA databases and say where research articles are located. But please join the library, because they do training on this one, and they'll actually show you exactly how to work with it. And of course, there is the Chrome store. So if I go click over here, I can actually see all the different apps, and there are billions and billions and billions. There's Richard's favorite one, ChatGDP, so you can actually add it in as well, and there's games as well, and train your brain, and there's a whole bunch of apps that you can actually install, or at least extensions, hey? So there we go, guys. So that was pretty much that. So I hope you guys are paying attention, because you're going to be able to do this in your activity. Okay, so speaking about browsers, let's continue. Edge, guys. Now, we just looked at Google Chrome, so the opposition is Microsoft Edge. Okay, so again, it also has some very, very useful features, which are very much unique to Microsoft Edge. Okay, so you're not going to find these ones in Google Chrome. So that's pretty much, you know, the fun of having different browsers, guys. So you can leverage those different features and be able to use them. So first we're going to look at collections and see how those work. So that's, again, it's like bookmarking, but it's a little bit different because it's a different way of saving all the information that you're looking for, and you basically create a collection to say this is my studies, and everything that's remotely connected to my studies, I actually go and save it in the collection. I'm going to show you guys how that all works. Then we've got something called Immersive Reader. Now this is actually a really, really cool tool. It's a tool that basically can read web pages for you. So you basically just tell it, read this document that's on the internet, and it can actually read it for you. So especially if you're tired and you don't want to be looking at your screen, Immersive Reader can actually do the work for you. You can adjust the text sizes, the background colors, and it really helps as well if you've got a little bit of an eyesight problem. Immersive Reader can really help there as well, because you can make things bigger, and yeah, it's very, very flexible. So this one I'm definitely going to show you in a few minutes as well. And the nice thing with Edge is you can also read your PDF files in Microsoft Edge as well, which is also pretty cool. So you can even fill out PDF documents. I know certain documents enable that way, so you can simply type them up and edit them and whatever you need to do through your PDF viewer, which is quite useful as well. So let's go have a look at the PDF. All right, so let's go back here. Okay, so what I've done is I've opened the browser, and I've just gone to Wikipedia. I'm sure you guys have all heard of this website, Wikipedia, and I've just looked for UNISA. Okay, just to save a little bit of time, I've put this in. So what I'm going to do is, again, looking for the ... I click on it. I think I clicked on the wrong one. Oh yeah, flip is right here. Okay, so there we go. Again, you'll see the menu comes up something like this, and you can see all the tools that you've got available. Now this one has changed quite a lot. So go have a look at Learning Toolkit when you've got some time. There's some very useful things there, like Math Solver, and go actually see how it works. Maybe go to YouTube and just say to it, show me some examples of the Learning Toolkit that's in Microsoft Edge, and it'll actually show you what you can do. But I'm just going to concentrate this time on collections, because I said to you, it's kind of like bookmarks, but it's also nice. Okay, so there you can see my collection I created. So I'm just going to start a new collection quickly. I'm going to call it HerTech. Zap the enter key. All right, so now look here, look what happens. I can click and drag on anything really, and I can simply just drop it in. Oh, I can even do it better. I'll just say use current page, and there we go. This image here, let's see, I drop it in. Okay, sometimes yeah, the copyright does kick in, guys. So it's not always that simple to simply just drop things in, but let me just try again. Okay, it's not going to give me that much fun. Okay, so this collections allows us me to then go and do some research as well. Let me just try this image. Ugh, it's not giving me much fun here at all. So yeah, so this is something you're just going to have to go play with, guys, because sometimes it gives you a hard time. Okay, so Richard, I'm just seeing it doesn't want to do what I did before. I don't know if they've changed it. Okay, good, that's fine. I think this looks good. Let me just try old Google. Okay, go to old Google.
David, try right-clicking on it and then add to collection.
Right click, add to collection. Okay, I'm right. Ah, there it is. And HerTech. Okay, so now they've made it right clicking. So no more click and drag like I used to do. Okay, so as you see there, guys, you can simply right click and then it adds in the things. Okay, forever changing technology. Nice. Thanks, Richard. Okay, so there we go. For example, here's all the doggies. Now maybe I'm doing something there and I just right click and I just drag it across. I know the drag function used to work quite fine. Ah, there we go. Okay, again, as I said to you guys, it depends where you are. And of course, there goes Google Lens again. It's popping up to say, all right, what's happening? It sees that I'm working with images. Okay, so yeah, it also depends on the website, looks like it's okay. So there you can actually build up some useful information. It's text, it's pretty much anything that you want. Let me see if I can do it this way. Right click, add to collections. And there we go. Now you'll see it'll add it here at the bottom somewhere. Okay, it'll pop up eventually. Okay, but there we go. So guys, nice feature. You can actually just build up a resource where you put all your information in the same place, but go play around with it depending on your device and see how it works. All right, so let me go back to my Wikipedia. Now, I did say to you, we've got this little guy over here called Immersive Reader. It doesn't come up with every single website that you go to. I do see it is a little bit limited. It is in development, but if you use F9 on your keyboard, it can also pop up. So I'm just going to click on it now. And basically, I'm just going to close my collection. And there, for example, it actually takes the page. Now, notice the page all of a sudden got a lot bigger, right? Yeah. So in other words, now it's saying to me, OK, you're inside this app called Immersive Reader. And I've got some functions that I can actually do. For example, read aloud. So if I click on this one, okay, so what it's doing is actually reading to me, but I'm just thinking, did I include sound with my share? Probably not. Okay, so let me quickly include the sound. So I want you guys to actually hear the voice that's actually coming through.
Africa. Former names. University of the Cape of Good Hope.
Okay, cool. So you hear that voice, right? It's got quite a nice African sense to it. So if I go to voice options, oh, it's a little bit slow now. It's not responding that great. Oh, it's like it's frozen. Ah. Okay. Yeah, I thought so.
Too much in a rush.
Yeah, I know. I've clicked too many times now.
Time.
All right, so there we go, guys. You see what happens when you click too many times. You've got to be patient. Now it says, do you want to wait for the page or exit the page? Right, let me just say wait. Let me try one more time. See, that's unfortunately what happens. You've got too many things running. And of course, I'm running MS Teams as well, guys. So that always makes it a little bit slower. Yeah, so it's kind of stuck there. But I hope you guys got the idea. So this thing here can basically just run through and it starts speaking and it reads it for you. But there are other features. Go play around with them. Make your text bigger.
Especially the translate feature as well is very good.
Yes, there is a translate feature. I think they've got Zulu now. But again, there's a lot of work to do with the African languages, especially with the click of the tongue, which is very difficult for AI at this point to pick it clearly. But the Zulu one is coming out really, really well. And we've had colleagues who speak fluent Zulu saying that's actually pretty good considering. And it looks like this web page has got serious issues now. I've broken it. Okay, let me. Yeah, I know it's a problem. Okay, so that's Immersive Reader. Sorry, guys, on my side. Okay, there we go. So you can actually go see here. Like, for example, there's the translate option. So there's Afrikaans. Okay, so let me use that and I simply just select the whole page and then you'll see, look how quickly it changes it to Afrikaans. Pretty fun, hey? So if you have to do some Afrikaans or maybe, let me see, no, there's no Zulu here, unfortunately. I did see it is limited, guys. There's Norwegian, so if you want to learn how to speak Norwegian, quite easy. No, I'm kidding, not that easy. Any other languages, African languages, Richard? I know. Okay, look, this is a development tool, so.
Yes, if you use, for instance, Microsoft Word, then it's got a lot more South African languages. Yeah,
so this one, I think for now, it's pretty limited to all these countries. But I mean, at least they're English Afrikaans. You've got something there. If you've got anyone that's doing an English assignment or Afrikaans assignment at school, you know, you can actually show them how to use this as well. So it's quite fun. So there's the text that you can go change the background. Depending on the time of day and how your eyes are feeling, you'll actually see this comes in as well. The style of writing, the font of writing that can help. You can even move it around a little bit. Okay, column sizes. Okay, that's fine. The text sizes. So you can make it big and smaller. Text spacing. Okay, that's a bit freaky, but yeah, you can do this. So there's lots of things you can go and do in here, guys. So please check it out. I'm not going to read this one again because it seems to slow down. But yeah, so this is what your browser can do. So interesting, guys. I'm sure these are new features that you've not seen before. So please go play around with them. So just to cover what we've covered in this section, I know we've covered a lot of useful, cool things that you're going to want to go and practice. So make sure you understand, because you're going to need to know this for your activities, right? Your homework on a weekend. Your web browsers, things like tabs, bookmarks, history, extensions. How can you access them? Can you find it easily enough? And of course, then navigating online, doing some research, staying organized, using bookmarks. Try out the collections, play around a little bit. You see that it does change it from time to time, but have some fun with these things because they're really, really useful to do. So let me quickly see. So guys, we're going to share this with you again. We'll also email it again tomorrow morning. I know it's a Saturday, but I'll email it just for you guys so that you don't have to go look for the activity numbers. So I'm just going to open the activity and just to briefly show you guys. Okay, sign in with your account. So in other words, you guys are going to sign in with your MyLife account and your password, and it's going to take you directly to the exercise. Also check out that nice little feature called an app. So you can actually create apps from web pages, but that's something you can go and explore. And there we go. So exploring the functions. And then we want you to do in part one, we want you really to go and open your web browser, and we're giving you some detailed steps. You can use any of the web browsers, totally up to you. But you need to do the following. And so we tell you the steps that you need to go and follow and practice. And please work through the address bar, working with tabs in that browser. We've even given you the websites that you need to go to. We want you to be able to bookmark. Okay, so that's a nice skill to learn. Also knowing how to access or clear your browsing history. Definitely useful when you've got to clear those cookies. Hey? Remember, just for interest's sake, the cookies, guys, are little files that come from the websites that you visit, which basically just stores the information that you've been there before. The important, so it sort of helps your browser find those websites when you look for them. But unfortunately, some of those cookies then get corrupted or get very old, and then the web page might not work properly, like especially with UNISA. So in my UNISA crashes, what do we normally tell you to do? Clear your cookies, just in case one of the cookies is still corrupting your page where everyone else is still working. So yeah, take note of that word cookies. And then installing and using extensions as well. So go look for an extension. So we do have some examples that you can use and go install it onto your device and see how it works. With Microsoft Edge, we also want you to go create a collection. So please do that as well. Get some things that you need to know for your studies. Maybe give it a module code, go put it together. So you next time you know how easy it is to use. Immersive Reader, just relax with it. Unlike me, was clicking too much. Give it some time. It does require a bit of time. Of course, Teams, as I said, does eat up a lot of internet bandwidth. But check out the Immersive Reader. Go play around. Go see the different voices and the sizes of text and see if this can really help you with your studies. I'm sure you'll be able to find some useful features. And then, of course, very, very importantly, we want you to reflect and share as well. And we've also given you some steps that you must follow. So please do this as well. And please take note, there are prizes available. So we do have Inspector Lindiwe, who's actually going to be reading all your answers. So come up with some very good answers. You might be surprised that next week you might be getting an email saying you'll be receiving a prize. So yes, so there we go, guys. So Richard, I think there I've covered everything. So back over to you.
Thank you, David, for that interesting overview of the browser. So the browser is becoming quite powerful these days in what it can do, especially when it comes to the Immersive Reader translating. So those are actually assistive technologies, but it can benefit you as well. I, for instance, the other day just did a presentation where I used the Immersive Reader and along with some AI to make the script, and I created a presentation very, very quickly with a nice voice actually over for the presentation, the one instead of mine. But for the next section, we're gonna go over to Dr. Marez, and she's going to just explain to us online safety and privacy. What does this mean? And this really builds up just before we get into how you actually manage your online profile, especially your professional profile and academic profile. So thank you, Dr. Maries, over to you.
Thank you, Richard. Richard, I'm just trying to share my slides. It's just taking a moment. Let me try again. And welcome to everyone that's joining us here on a Friday. Your dedication is amazing. I'm so happy that the next generation of women in tech is here. So, online safety, what does that mean? Well, think a little bit. If you are staying in a house or driving your car or walking down the street even, you do certain things to protect yourself. When you're in your house, you lock the doors. If you're walking in the street, you tuck your money and your cell phone, because we're all women, you tuck it into your bra so that nobody can steal it. If you're driving in a car, you put on your safety belt. So those are basically the kind of things that you need to think about in terms of the equivalency when you are being online. It is really crucial to understand, how do you protect yourself, your personal information? How do you protect yourself from being bullying? But also, how do you act as a good digital citizen? So if you think about digital citizenship, if you haven't heard about this before, it's really, how do you use technology responsibly? How do we engage with society in a way that we make society better instead of making it worse? So what is a good citizen? Well, we respect the laws, we respect other people, we help, we take care of our environment. And when you're a good citizen online, you try and do the same equivalent things when you are being online. It is really about being, not making the world a worse place by the way that you act online. And online is especially often a space that's unsafe for women. So that's something that you really need to be aware of. And let's make it better for one another rather than making it worse. There's lots of people already making it worse. And I wanted to also have you guys think about the fact that if you're getting anything for free, like Meta.
Sorry, Ingrid?
Yes.
Sorry, will you just please unshare and share your screen rather, and
okay,
not the presentation for the YouTube stream?
Okay, no problem. I'll do that. I keep on forgetting when we're doing the presentation that it's better to share my screen. Let me share it this way. Let me just hold on a second. Is it looking better now, Richard?
It's still coming through.
Still coming through?
Nothing's still on our side.
Still not. Okay, hold on a second. Let me do it a different way. Luckily, there's lots of different ways of doing things. Oh, I can see what I've done wrong here. And I am sharing the screen. Now, Richard?
Okay, now we're good to go.
All right. Now let's just find my slide quickly. Let me just find that. Just give me a moment, please. There we go. All right. So if something is for free, like AI, some AI tools, like what else is free? Facebook or Meta, as they're called. You are often the tool. Your data is the product. that is often used in ways that is not great for us, by selling us things, by putting us into certain conversations where we don't necessarily want to be. So just always be aware that if you are signing up for something and it says it's free, that you are the product that is being sold. So I also want you to think a little bit, as we're thinking about this, is what is your digital footprint? How many of you have gone to look yourself up online? How many of you have gone and found, Googled your name and gone, oh, okay, here's some information about me. And I want to show you what happens when I search for myself. Richard, can you see my Google screen, or is it still the PowerPoint? Or David?
That's the Google screen.
Oh, perfect. Sorry, I was just making sure it's the right screen. So here I did a little search for myself, Ingrid Marie. Unfortunately, there's lots of Ingrid Marie, so I had to add South Africa. And there you can see there's a little bit about me. There's also other people with my name. But this is my digital footprint. There you can see I'm on X or Twitter. That's not me, luckily. There's an e-portfolio I did. So, go search yourself a little bit and see what is available about you on the internet. We all have a digital footprint, and this is what people are going to find when they look for you. And my question always to you is, what is the story that you want people to know about you? And what is available online is what people will know about you. So as part of being online, we all face certain threats, and it's important to identify these. One of the big ones, and I was a victim, well, not a victim, somebody attempted to phish me, or phishing me, I'm never sure how you say that, is that, how many of you have had somebody contact you and say, listen, I'm from Vodacom, and please, or your bank, can you please give me your the code that's just been sent to your phone, or can you give me your PIN? Those are attempts at phishing. They're looking for sensitive information about yourself. How many of you have had that experience when someone has come to try and find information from you? There's also malware, which is often when you download things from the internet, especially from free movies, there's sometimes things, worms, viruses attached to your downloads, and those can crash your computer. It can even hold your computer hostage in a way. It can put things on your computer that tracks you. And a lot of women in abusive relationships have that happen to them, that a significant other or an ex-partner puts something on their computer that then tracks every movement. And then there's also identity theft, which is really just when somebody steals your identity to try and open accounts in your name and things. And that's also a very real care. And you have to take care that none of this happens. And sometimes it's very sophisticated, and you might not even realize. You might think that you're aware, and then it still happens. Another threat that we have online is cyberbullying. And there is horror stories about people being cyberbullied and getting threatening messages, getting abuse from other people. So you can adjust your privacy settings, especially on your social media. Who can see things about you? Who can tag you on photographs, for example? Blocking abusive users. In some countries, you can even go to court to try and try and stop cyberbullying. There has been people that have been convicted of cyberbullying, especially in really extreme cases where somebody has been committed suicide due to cyberbullying. We can see lately that, for example, the Olympic boxer Imani Khalif has lodged basically a complaint of cyberbullying because of the abuse she's been facing from online sources. So really be very careful. And some of the things that you can do in terms of identifying online threats is data breaches. A lot of people gather information about you online, your passwords, your some really sensitive documents like your ID documents and ID numbers and things, and then they leak their data. So you might have heard a couple of years ago, there was a big case about some online dating site where where people's personal data was leaked through a hack. So that's kind of data breaches. And one of the ways that you can protect yourself is just to make sure that you're using something simple like two-factor authentication. So it's not just that you are signing into a website with a password, but you often have to then get a code on your cell phone, for example, or an authenticator app that confirms that that is you. And that helps to stop things like data breaches. Catfishing, somebody says here on the chat, absolutely. There's a very famous internet educator that gets catfished all of the time. And he's had many very sad stories of women coming to him and said, but somebody with your profile contacted me and, you know, I looked you up, you look legitimate. And he's like, I've never heard of you. I don't know who you are. So it really does help. You really need to be aware online. So make sure that you use strong passwords is one of the things that you can do so that you don't don't use the same password for every website. Don't use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as a password. That's a terrible password. Use complex passwords. It must have letters and symbols and numbers. And don't write your password down on a little piece of paper and pluck it onto your computer, because then somebody is also going to know what you are. Be careful about your cookies. And clear your cache regularly. And luckily, David showed us where you would go to look for cookies and clearing your cache. Another thing to be aware of is being in your private browsing mode. When you are using private or incognito mode, I think it's called incognito in Google. Is that it's basically just a way to offer you some anonymity when you are on the web, because it doesn't save your history or cookies or temporary files. And this is a tip if you don't know it yet, is if you're looking for flights, every time you go on a flight booking site and you look at the flights, they make a kind of a note that you've been there, and the next time you go, the flight is more expensive. And that's one of the ways that you can use incognito mode to kind of fool that part of the internet. So let me show you quickly how you can use. Oh, sorry, I didn't want to show you that yet. I'll show you that just now. I wanted to show you where you would go to clear your cookies. And this is Microsoft Edge. And you go to these 3 little dots up there and you go to settings, and it opens up your settings, and you'll see privacy, search and services. And here you can see delete browsing data. It also asks about tracking prevention and whether you want to be tracked and how you would want to kind of block trackers and things like that. And that also helps with protecting your privacy and things like that. But this one, deleting browsing data. And here, if you click on choose what to clear, you can see it asks you about clearing your browsing history, your cookies and other sites, images and files and passwords and any autofills that you have. You can so this is all good to go and do every couple of days, and definitely keep an eye on who's tracking you with what. So I, for example, under privacy, I use do not track requests, which is basically just one way of getting the internet not to follow you the whole time. All right. So if you're thinking about your online safety, just like you'd keep your cell phone safe and your computer safe and your cache safe, please make sure that you keep your computer safe. Okay. These days we have everything on our computers and our cell phones and our tablets. You know, we have your private financial information, passwords. All of these are on your computer and your other digital devices. So do make sure that you're keeping them safe, so that you do not lose the data. Somebody doesn't get a chance to make false accounts on your name, or even worse, try and ruin your reputation by posting things on your social media or your accounts that is just not true and that you wouldn't do normally. And also think about phishing and social engineering. Make sure that something is a trusted and secure website before you share any data. A while back, I was looking on Facebook. I saw these lovely shoes and I bought them. I put in all of my credit card details, and a month later, I was like, hey, what happened to those shoes? And I realized, but listen, this site was not what I thought it was. So please be careful of those, and please get your parents and your elders and your loved ones to also be very careful. But there's also other things that you need to think about in terms of social engineering, especially. We know that there has been attempts to use social media and social engineering to have certain messages and certain politics promoted or not promoted. So, for example, there was a big scandal that you can go and look up. It's called the Cambridge Analytica. There's even a Netflix documentary about it. Please go and have a look at it, and how data is used online. And be aware, I'm not telling you not to be on social media. I'm a big social media. I love the internet. I've been using the internet since I was about 13 or 14. And it's just that you have to go into this with your eyes open, and you have to go into it with your eyes open as a woman, especially. So what else? Think about data protection and your digital footprint. Be careful about what personal information you share with people. Remember, if you go on websites, and they often have password recovery services that ask you questions like, what was your mother's maiden name, and what was the first street you lived in? And sometimes there's these questionnaires that circulates online that asks those exact same questions. So if somebody has some of your information, plus now this information about you know, where you first lived, they might be very easily hack into your accounts, empty it out before you can even get your shoes on and realize something has gone missing. Make sure when you are browsing to use websites with HTTPS, and that S is just about security, so do try that. Be careful about websites that pretend to be other websites. So, you know, you often on Twitter, where I'm a lot, or on Facebook, you'll get, oh, the BBC reports this, and it's this unbelievable story about something or the other, you know, Prince William and Kate, and, you know, the hundreds of affairs they're having. And then when you look at it, it's not a BBC website. It is just something that somebody has made to look like websites. So just make sure, or as David showed you, the browser bar, make sure that you are looking at it. And when you are on public Wi-Fi, remember, if it's free, you are the product. What is people getting from you when you are using these public Wi-Fis. So just be really careful. And if you are on a shared device, I know some of you go to internet cafes, you go to UNISA to UNISA campus, and you use the digital devices there. Sometimes students leave things logged on and then they come back to us and say, listen, but I didn't submit this, somebody submitted something on my behalf. So be very careful. And recognize spam when it comes your way. And again, avoid sharing personal details online. Who are you sharing with it? Are you sure that it is the person asking? All right. So along with that, and it goes with being a good digital citizen, is this idea of netiquette and what are you sharing online from your side? You know, I assume you're all good people and you're not going to go out bullying somebody, but sometimes we get very passionate and we get into fights, and it's okay to share online, but do think about the think principle. Think, is it true? Don't spread lies. Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? And is it kind? If it is not those things, don't engage online. And with that, I'm not saying don't take part in debates and things like that. It is just be kind, be real in your online interactions. So what can you do to secure yourself online? Well, strong passwords. You know, I've said don't use 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a really bad passwords. Don't share passwords with other people. Sometimes we get students sending us their email accounts and here's my password. Please never share your passwords with people via email. Two-factor authentication. We have started using it at UNISA now, so I'm sure you're getting used to it. If you log in, if you change things, you get a message that pops up on your, for example, before I log on to Facebook, I get a SMS that says this is a code that I have to then put into the browser so that nobody else is getting onto my Facebook, etc. All right, update your computers and look at your privacy settings. Block third-party cookies, try and prevent tracking. I showed you where you need to go, and look at what permissions you are giving applications, for example. Every time you download something, a web application on your smartphone, it says, hey, can I look at your contacts? Hey, can I look at your data? So be very careful who you are giving permission to. Are you sure this is a real person or a legitimate company that you're giving access to information to? And then uninstall unused applications. All right, so be smart when you share and what we share. So never share anything that you are not happy for everyone to see. And this also kind of links to what we're talking about next, which is your online presence. Some of you are already working, some of you already are building careers. If somebody searched for you and you've maybe applied for a new job, or recently I was applying for a US visa, and what did they ask? What is my social media handles? Okay, lots of jobs these days ask you. And that doesn't mean that you're not allowed to have opinions, but how are you saying those opinions? What is it that is known about you? So be careful what you share and who you share it with. Is your Facebook profile public? Or is it protected? Who can tag you in photos, for example? Those are all part of sharing online that you need to be very careful about. So in the chat, can I ask, which of the following components should you look for in the URL of a web page to make sure you are on a secure site? Is it A, B, C, or D? Just tap it into the chat. And I'm going to give you, I see all the C's coming up. Fantastic. You're indeed right. It is. You must always look for the HTTPS. It is the more secure sites. It means the website is secure. So, which one of these passwords is the strongest? A, B, C, or D? Let's see what you say. A, good job, Vuyisa Mashamba. A is a much better password. So that's a good password to have. All right, because it contains upper and lowercase letters. It has special characters and it has numbers. All right, so what is your digital footprint? What do you think? Is it the size of information on your online accounts, the number of people you connected to online, a record of everything you do and say online, your online username? Let's see what the answer is. I see a lot of C's, a couple of A's. The answer is it's a record of everything you do and say online. And then online civility. Which of these actions is not violating copyright? So we have a couple of options. Using someone's images in a book. You publish without their permission. Quoting a paragraph from somebody's book and referencing them. Selling someone's video under your name. Or selling someone's book without a license. Or sharing it online via WhatsApp. I know it happens a lot. B is the correct answer for everyone that shared. All right. Where can cyberbullying take place? Who knows? Where are we finding cyberbullies? Is it only on social media? I see the D's coming out. A couple of F's. We don't have an F option. D's, that's right. It's on all social media platforms and SMSs and through emails. And in any type of online, and even Teams meetings, there's cyberbullying happening. So I'm going to, let's talk about some female-specific online safety issues. I've talked a little bit about, I've mentioned it before, and there's a lot of information about how the problems women face, especially professional women, face when they're online. Cyber stalking, trolling, doxing. Doxing is when your personal information becomes publicly available. In South Africa, we have especially a problem with women journalists being harassed online, facing rape threats. People don't like what some journalists write, so they say, well, I hope you get raped on your way home tonight. Or even worse, you know, I'm going to come and kill you. For those of you who knows the Good Thing Guys, the South Africa Good Thing Guys, I think he's called. He's actually a real person. He shares all sorts of good news with people, and he had to get a interdict because he was being stalked by somebody online. They were sending him death threats. He was getting 100 messages per day. You might also, there's a new Netflix movie, I think it's not movie, series called Baby Reindeer, which kind of talks about the same thing. So really as a woman, but also just as any person needs to be really careful about maintaining privacy. Be careful what you share online about your life, that you're not putting too much out there. Be cautious with personal information and manage your digital footprint. Who is having access to your social media pages? What are they seeing about you? What is your friends sharing about you? It is everything to do with what people can find out about you. So I'm all for, you'll see, I'll show you my social media pages. Now I share a lot online, but I'm also very careful about some of my more private things and not having that. So you need to understand what online safety and privacy is. And it's also very important to maintain a professional online presence. Guys, when I was young, I did a lot of stupid things. I'm not young anymore. I've just turned 45, but I did a lot of stupid things, and my friends did a lot of stupid things. And I was lucky that I grew up mostly before the era of posting everything on social media. I had a lot of stupid opinions. I got drunk in stupid places. I did stupid things with silly boys, you know. And if some of those things were available on social media today, when I'm 45, I think I would not be very comfortable with that. So really think about what it is that you are sharing. If somebody were to interview you for a job, would you want them to have and know those information? Create a professional profile. And I wanted to share with you, let me just find it. Oh no, this is not the one. I used Edge for this one. There's a number of professional profiles that I use. I have a LinkedIn account, and there you can see it's a very nice shot that was taken by the university at some very long ago, I have to admit. About 10 eyeglasses ago, but it's about, you know, who I am. This is really my professional connections. It tells you where I'm working, my degrees, what languages I speak, these connections. And this is when somebody look for me, this is one of the things they find about me. Because I'm also an academic, I use something called Google Scholar, and this just lists my publications, but it is a good professional place. You can have an online presence. Please, nothing I've said today should make you think that you can't be online, that you shouldn't be online. Just be online in a way that you can control as much as you can. I also have a personal Facebook page. Here you can see that. But I'm, again, very careful about photos that's available of me, so that, and these are all publicly available, so don't mind sharing this, so that that there's nothing about me that that you can find that is something where an employer might go, oh, I'm not sure, or a potential colleague or a potential business partner, or, you know, even a potential life partner, when there's things online about you that you are not comfortable with. And we need to all very carefully curate, decide what it is that we put out about ourselves online. So start creating a LinkedIn profile if you don't have one. And there's lots of things that come your way via LinkedIn, for example, that you can control. And then but be very careful about your tone and the content that you have in online academic discussions, both in terms of your classes, when you're having classes, but also, for example, if you are communicating with somebody on LinkedIn, you don't want to be posting a message to somebody on LinkedIn that says, hey, biatch, how's it going? You know, those are not the way that you should be communicating professionally. You know, you should really think about how, even if you're disagreeing with somebody, it's not about not agree. You don't have to agree with everything, but it is how you disagree. You know, if you disagree and you say, well, I hope you die, that's a really bad way to disagree. And sometimes my mum-in-law has a saying. She says, if you can't say something nice on the internet, sit on your hands. So sit on your hands if you are not going to be saying nice. Do try. I'm not a purist, but do try and use proper punctuation and grammar and spelling. And if you're like me, I'm not great at any of those things. I use Grammarly to make it better. All right. So when you make sure your contributions is relevant, that you're not going off on other tangents, be thoughtful in your participation. so that you add value. You don't have to say, I agree, I agree, I agree. That sometimes just leads to noise and doesn't take the discussion forward. You could say, I agree because you raised this point that I think is very good, and then you add something more to it. And be careful about controversial topics if you don't know anything about it. We don't have to make comments about everything in the world. Highlight your achievements and your skills appropriately. That includes your academic achievements, your professional achievements. Keep on working on certifications, on skills on your LinkedIn, and try and get endorsements and recommendations that is relevant to the career that you want. Presentation matters, because this is, you know, think of you meeting somebody for the first time, you go for a job interview. Often your social media presence and your LinkedIn profile is your the first impression of an employer. Make sure you regularly update it. I am I'm not great at updating it always, because I'm a bit I kind of lose track sometimes, but it is good to regularly go and see what is being said about you online, etc. Having a professional online presence is good for career opportunities. It's good for your career success. So do make sure that you are very aware of what is happening online. Okay, so I have showed you my professional LinkedIn profile, and you can go and create one. Just go LinkedIn, be very careful about how you name it. What do you want to be known as? So professionally, I am I'm known not just as Ingrid Marie, because there's a Ingrid Marie that's a photographer, and there's a Ingrid Marie that is a wedding planner, and that's a financial advisor. Professionally, I go by, let me show you on my Google Scholar, I publish under Ingrid E. Marie. So E is in my second name. I'm not going to share what my second name is, but that is how I publish. So it is something that I was very purposeful about, being Ingrid E. Marie or I.E. Marie in my publications, because that is who I want to have. I want to be known professionally. So be very careful. Make sure that you know what you are wanting to do. All right. And I think that's it from me. Thank you very much, colleagues. And I'm sorry I went a little bit overboard. Back to you, David or Richard.
Thank you, Ingrid, for that very insightful, of what all of the security, why it's so important, to keep your information safe. Now, David is going to show us a little bit about, web searching. When you search for topics, how do you actually find easily, what you are actually looking for? And this is really a skill that's often overlooked. You get the ones that, oh, I'll just Google it, or I'll just find it easily, where others are, how can I now find this information? They end up on websites, perhaps it's not entirely what they want. So David is going to show us a few skills regarding web browsing and how to find exactly what you want. Thanks, David.
All right, thanks, Richard. Those things I had burned a bit much. Okay, guys, so yes, web browsing essentials. So let's have a look quickly and see what is it about. So it's quite an important skill, especially in the digital age. So we're going to look at things like search techniques, evaluating your sources, organizing info like we already showed you, and practicing some safe browsing practices. Okay, so what is a search engine? Now, basically, it's a web page, right? But in the background of that web page, there's some programming language, there's algorithm that goes and finds everything that you have typed in the search bar. So it tries to preempt you sometimes. In other words, if you're typing something, it tries to figure out what you're typing before you've even typed it. But ideally, it's there to find the information for you. One thing that's really changed recently is the AI coming into the play, because that really is, in a way, a search engine, but a way more powerful search engine that actually can try to find information for you. So we're going to just have a look at the old-fashioned ones, the Googles or the Bings or the DuckDuckGos. So it's quite important to actually understand how a search engine works so that you can find the information that you're looking for. So how does it work? It uses keywords. Now what happens is a lot of students, they've got an assignment question and they type the whole question in the search engine. Remember, when you're typing in words like that or a sentence of information, it's going to try and find exactly the match for that information. So it doesn't really help you. So what we suggest is rather go with specific words or phrases that basically broad terms that will refine what you need with your search. How do we do that? Okay, the first one is your quotation marks. So if you type in a phrase within the quotation marks, then it tries to match exactly websites or resources that has whatever that information is between those quotation marks. So that's one technique, but don't make it too long, right? Don't have too many words in that phrase, otherwise it's going to be very limited to what you're looking for. Also use your Boolean characters or your operators like and, or not, because that can also broaden or narrow your search, as I'm going to show you. And of course, you've also got advanced search where you can really then go refine your research results to the date, the region, time. There's a whole bunch of features that you can actually use there. So these are the different ways of searching techniques that I'm going to be showing you. So let's have a look at how to do this. So I'm going to go to Google. Let's type in female technology. And of course, now I'm going to put in my quotation marks. You see there? There we go. And I zap the enter key. And there we go. So what happens is now it's going to look for exactly female and technology in the document. So there in The Guardian, there was a FemTech. That's quite a nice one. FemTech flourishing. And there we go. And that's from 2019. Here's another article. And then you can see it's found the word that we're looking for. Girls in technology, female technology. So you see, when you use the quotation marks, it finds exactly what you've typed in there, the phrase. So I'm just going to click on my little tools here. I just want to show you how many results came out. And you can actually see it's about, what, 125,000 in 30.33 of a second. So it's very, very quick, and it's, yeah, so using that technique. Okay, so now I'm going to say, no, all right, let's have female and technology. Now I'm using the Boolean, right? Again, so now it's going to look, so there it finds woman. And now you'll see the articles will have woman and technology. So in the article itself or the document or whatever resource it is, it has to have female and technology. So both keywords need to be matched. So there we've got 2.1 billion results. Okay, so that's quite a lot. So if you're looking or doing research, that's going to take you some time to actually get down to exactly what you're looking for. So let's change this then and say, okay, so instead of and, let's say or technology. Again, I'm just going to switch on my tools and you can see it's 2.4 billion. So it's a bit more now because it's either word, it's going to then draw up the article. In this case, I see lots of videos coming up. So there we go. So interesting. So and or, and means both must be found, or means one of the two must be in the article or the document or the resource. So you can see it's a little bit more. So let's say female and not technology. A little bit opposite of what we're doing today. And now it goes to 2.8. So in other words, I'm finding female, but nothing to do with technology, mustn't be in the article. And there we go. So why did some women not like technology? So this website tends to have a lot of questions that people ask and things like that. Because this doesn't apply to you guys. You guys love technology. That's why you're here. That's why you're learning all this. So you can see how the operators actually really work. And you can see it narrows down the searching that you're looking for. So that's quite useful as well. Let me just make sure I didn't miss anything. Oh yes, of course, advanced search. Let me go back. So then you'll see the tools option. It goes on and off. It used to be there by default, but I see nowadays it's on and off. And then you'll see advanced search over here. So if you click on advanced search, then you're going to see it opens up like this. Now this one allows you really to go and find those articles. So let me remove the not. Okay, let's say university. Okay. And you can see all the different options that you've got. Yeah, I mean, there's so many options, guys. So you really can go narrow it down. Which region? Crikey, we can even go down to region level. You'll have to scroll down. Let's see if we've got South Africa. Should definitely be there. So now I'm looking for the South African region. When was it updated last? Okay, let's say up to a month ago. Site and domain terms that you want to use in the title or in the text of the page. Let's say text of the page. What format must it be in? So you've got all these different formats that it can even come in, like PDF. That's quite a useful one if you're doing researching. Then it even goes to licensing. In other words, that resource, who owns it and what can you do with that resource? Free to use or share. Okay, so let's go for that one. So let's go see, and I'm going to click on advanced search. Now, advanced search, guys, it's really, really cool because as you can see, now I've narrowed it down. Look how many results came out, hey, using the advanced search. Just 6. So it's better than the 2.4 billion that we saw previously. Now it's homed in and says, okay, these articles are talking to exactly what you were saying over there. Financial literacy competency of women, that's kind of an interesting one because I'm in finance as well as IT. So yeah, there we go. So there are the 6 articles that actually matched up with that advanced. That's pretty powerful, as you guys can see. So that's a nice feature that you must go learn, and definitely good with your studies and whatnot. So advanced search, very, very nice option over there. All right, so let's continue. So advanced searching, we did our demo, nice. So now, very importantly, guys, and Ingrid, Dr. Maria actually also mentioned this. We need to evaluate online sources, really to understand who's giving me the information and are they credible or not. So the authority is really the first thing we look at. So if it's something like CNN or Sky News, there is some sort of authority there. You would think mostly the information they're giving you is credible. So yes, if it's some guy called Ninkinong, don't know who that person is, and they're saying this is happening, maybe it's true, maybe it's not. But what you must always do is go to Google, type it in, and actually see if all the credible people are talking about that as well. Same thing applies with UNISA, guys. If you get an SMS or an email that says security leak, you need to change your password or whatnot, before you do anything, go to My UNISA, go to the announcements and see if there's officially something from the university saying, please do the following. It's a nice way just to make sure you're not being finched or scammed. So that's quite important as well. Accuracy, guys, it's very important because, as I was just saying now, it's good to check against other sources to see if this is genuine or not. People, I don't know why, they like to post someone has died, and then you think, oh no, this actor's died, but when you do Google, the person says, no, I'm very much alive. Okay, I don't know why they like to do silly things like that. So the accuracy of the information. Objectivity is also very important because we know people are biased and they want you to buy into whatever they're telling you. And that's why I was using the examples of CNN and Sky, because they might be putting information there, but there is always an element of bias because who's paying the money there at the background and things like that. So it might mean they would lean towards somebody than not somebody else. With politics, obviously, as we've seen in our own country, today it's this, tomorrow it's that. Yes, so objectivity always plays an interesting role. Currency has got nothing to do with money. We're talking about the timeliness of the information. All right. In other words, when was it available? When was it published? You find this, unfortunately, with UNISA. There's a certain newspaper that loves to post articles about us. But when you go look at the article, it's like 20 years ago, something happened that they're now reporting about as if it happened now. Absolutely nothing to do with the current situation of the university. So the currency then comes in to say, when was this actually published? Is it still relevant or not? I wish those people would do their homework. And then, of course, the coverage as well. The topic, has it been explored? Is it comprehensive analysis? Does it have examples? Does it even make sense to you? Okay, because a lot of stuff out there, sometimes it's bits and pieces that doesn't really all add up. And then when you read the article at the end of it, you're thinking, what on earth is this person talking about? So the coverage then is a little bit mixed up. But sometimes there are some very good articles from young people that actually do make a lot of sense. As we already showed you, the bookmarking, the organizing your information, it's a very important skill. So make sure you go do that homework that I've already given you today. So yes, go and practice those things, organize your information, because there's so much information out there. So make sure you are able to bookmark or use the collection feature. Also, there are apps that you can use. OneNote, guys, is really, really cool. Google Keep is another one. We actually do offer OneNote training. I know Richard does it usually with the training that we've offered on 4IR skills. That is such a powerful tool. We've also got Doc Pumza, who is also uses OneNote, and it's quite impressive how she's actually used OneNote in terms of how she organizes the information, uses that tool, and we've seen it in her meetings as well. So it's actually quite cool how she's done that. So it's snippets of information, there's links, it's a really fun tool to actually go and use that helps you organize yourself. That's really what it's about. Because trust me, you're not going to remember a lot of the stuff that you find on the internet, especially if life is busy. Then, of course, you've got reference tools like Medley and EndNote that really help you with your research and help you actually keep all these things together. So that's also very useful as well. So reference management tools are definitely a skill that you must learn. Then efficient reading online. Okay, so we've got some different pages that remove your distractions for you, like what we've just showed you with Edge. So that's quite useful. Judging the text sizes and the contrast, that also can help you with your eyes. Something you must do, guys, and unfortunately you must do it no matter what age you're at. Please go have your eyes checked, because if you're using devices, it's definitely going to impact your eyes. All of us need to check your eyes at least once a year. Text-to-speech tools, there's some very nice tools like I showed you with the Read Aloud that works nice, Immersive Reader that can actually read the text to you, so you don't always have to be reading it off the screen. So active reading techniques as well, text by highlighting, summarizing, questioning. So AI is actually helping a lot with this type of techniques, or actually helping you understand an article. So you don't have to go read the entire article. You can ask AI to summarize it and read it to you. And then at least you've got quite a good foundation of what that article was about, for example. And of course, as ever, I love this one, please have regular breaks, 20-20-20 rule. So normally they say if you're in front of a laptop for an hour, you need to actually walk away for 10 minutes. But as we know, certain people are not allowed to do that, because then the world ends basically, and then we have to got them on their phones and say help, help, help. So yes, I know the person knows who I'm referring to. So yes, but look after your eyes, guys, and your wrists and everything with your body, because once your health goes, it's not so easy to get it back. So that's pretty much what the web browsing essentials was about. So please go and practice these things, use that searching technique. It's definitely going to be a skill you need to know. Go play around with it, see how it can help you with your studies. But I've also organize yourself, see if there's other programs like collection or bookmarks can help you, so that you can effectively manage all the resources that are coming your way, because it will definitely help you. We do have an activity. All right, so I've already opened the activity, so please go use it. Again, we give you a scenario that you're going to work through. So part 1, it's effective use of the search engine. So you can use any of them, but we want you then to go look for a certain phrase. In this case, it's digital literacy for students. Notice the quotation marks, for example, but they do follow the steps that we're going to give you. Also use the advanced search technique. We want you to try that out as well. I did show you some things there, so go check out all the other features with advanced searching that can help you. Then, of course, evaluating your sources. How do we do it? Go and check based on what you've searched, and then follow the process that we've given you, just 5 little steps there. And of course, part 3 is about bookmarking. Please go bookmark some of the resources that you found, so that you guys can be able to easily reference it. And of course, note-taking apps, go check them out. We've given you some examples, extensions. Try them out. Maybe you find these are very, very useful and that you can actually use them in your studies as well. Then, of course, part 4 is covering the efficient online reading, and please follow all the instructions that are given to you, text-to-speech, use them, reading tools. And of course, the last part is part 5, reflect and discuss. This is very important because Inspector Lindiwe is going to be also checking these out just to see what you guys have written, and those guys who are lucky might be winning a prize. So yep, go and share your experience. We really would like to hear from you guys to find out how this activities, the community is benefiting you. Do you feel, what else do you want to learn? And of course, what did you find very useful with all the things that we've showed you throughout the last 2 days in a bit? And right, that's pretty much the activity. So we do see you guys are very active on this platform, so please do continue. As I said, I can see this one activity has been seen 153 times already. So you guys are really getting involved and we really appreciate it. But yeah, give us some good constructive feedback. We also do appreciate that from our side as well. All right, and that's it from me. So I'm going to hand back now to Richard because I think he's up next.
Thank you, David. So I'm just going to share my screen. So this is the last section, is basically identifying and accessing resources online. So there's various online resources to access, and it's good to know just where to find them, have them handy, bookmark them so you can always refer back to them. Now, there's some, areas that you definitely want to look at, is educational platforms, specifically, for instance, UNISA, you get the Khan Academy, you get support organizations, as we had a look in the session yesterday, actually with the Women in Tech, and then also university resources. So, what resources are within the university that's already available to you. So, for examples, of educational platforms, the ADOVH learning platform, we'll have a look at this now. There's quite a few MOOCs on there that you can work through. We'll also have a quick look at Khan Academy. But when you look at these platforms, also be creative. Like YouTube is probably so big on the educational videos that's on there. Various people that share them. So you really will look at how many followers there are, what are the history. There's a lot of teachers on there that gives advice on various topics and coders and from all professions that you can follow. But always, as we mentioned, check the credibility of the person that do provide it. Then for support organizations, so we are actually starting our one within this platform, the UNISA Digital Skills Community. We'll show a little bit later what is coming next for this community. And then, as we showed yesterday, there's also platforms, for instance, Girls Who Code. So if you're interested in programming, get into that club, or Women Who Tech, it's general technology, doesn't matter what field you are. But I would even, if there's so many professions these days that's going to be using some form of coding. So maybe just learn the basics and you'll actually see the world and technology becomes so much clearer, even if you just know the if and statements as you have learned basically in the search results. So go and explore these organizations and make use of the resources that's available. Now, I just want to highlight the university resources, and I'm going to bring it back home here to UNISA. So we've got a lot of digital skills workshops, as this one that we're running now. We've got a lot of workshops coming up as well. Remember, all the regions have computer labs. So if you need access to a computer lab, we've got internet access. Go and visit the closest center. There are computer labs that you can use. And these labs also have digital learning advisors. So if you have any problems, they can assist you within the labs. Unfortunately, since COVID, the attendance at these labs have really dropped. Before that, there wasn't enough seats, but now you will definitely get a seat and have access to these computers. And what's very nice about it is also load shedding. They've got backups and all of that, so it runs throughout load shedding. And then the big one is the library online catalog. You saw earlier with David with his extension. Now that extension that he had there for the library actually opens up the library resource directly. It doesn't matter where you find it, because a lot of times you'll search for, especially a research paper, and then it says, oh, you have to pay for this paper. But with that extension, it will actually tell you, wait, this is already available in your library, and it will open up directly in the library. But the library also have a lot of journals, books, and also open education resources. So I'm just quickly going to show a few of these courses that you might be interested in. So the first one, as we shared the link, is the aovh.unisa.ac.za. So this is an open platform. So remember, you can even have your family members join this as well to participate in the various courses. We are currently in the Herd Tech program. If you're interested in, UN, debating, especially around climate, this will be the focus for this UN model or model UN. Will be all about, effectively debating, but around climate conditions. But there's a lot of open courses here already, and I'm going to highlight just a few of them. You're probably already familiar with my modules, my exams, but I saw a lot of you yesterday also posting about certificates. This one is still available. This was developed last year. It's the basic skills of Microsoft 365 for digital learners. And this one was developed with Microsoft. So if you actually finish the activities in this MOOC, you actually get a Microsoft certificate of participation. So we do extract them about every 3 or 4 months. Everybody that completed 40% or, sorry, not 40, 60% of the activities effectively do get that certificate. And that's something you can already add to your, I'm going to say your CV. Now, also, if we've got presenting skills. So a lot of the modules that you will be doing these days, you will be having to do presentations. Now, this book actually shows you how to prepare for it, how to conduct it online or in person. So it doesn't just introduce you to PowerPoint, it actually introduces you to the whole flow that you need to take to get to an effective presentation. Then we've also got the, how can I say, the advanced skills in Microsoft Word. There's also basic skills in Microsoft Word. Now, the advanced one goes a little bit is for dissertation writing. So do the basic one. The basic Microsoft Word Online shows you how to effectively do a assignment template that you can use and also share it, what you learned in the OneDrive activity. And then the advanced one builds on top of that. How do you now automate your content table, the numbers, page numbers, the figures, all of that is covered in advanced skills. So this is already some good resources that's available. And I also want to highlight, for instance, the Khan Academy. Here's that cookies again. So strictly necessary cookies to be safe. So yeah, for instance, Khan Academy focuses quite a lot on high school concepts and all of that, but it does, also delve into a lot of digital skills. Now, for instance, when you start a degree in your 50s and it's got some maths module or algebra module, you don't remember all that again. When I started again, I go back to this and I just learn the basics, because then it makes it so much easier to learn the new concepts on top of that. So even the coding, it's always good to go view these open resources. And then I just want to highlight Copilot with AI. So obviously you can always ask AI to explain any topic with you. The one tip I can give with AI is, say you've got a concept that you're struggling with, ask it, so explain to me like a 5-year-old, because then it will give you a very visual description of what this concept is. Then you're going to ask it, describe it to me like I'm a teenager. Now it builds on top of that. So you've got the picture, how can I say, way of identifying it. Now you build on top of that with, regular language. And then finally you ask it, explain it to me like I'm now at university level. That's when it starts using academic language. So that's why it's so important with these AI tools, is to know how to prompt it and how to use it effectively. Now, I can actually say within the next month, we're going to release the AI Masterclass. I saw previously there was a comment, AI doesn't give me what I want. Now, the first thing that we're going to be focusing on with the AI Masterclass is prompt engineering, how to effectively prompt it. So it's going to be a very fun course where you can learn how to use all these AI tools effectively, but that it gives you the information that you need, and also in a way that's constructive towards your learning. And as I mentioned, YouTube can always go back there. There's a lot of courses, especially programming, all of that. Especially with programming as well, AI is very good at it. So it can even teach you programming if you ask it, show me the basic steps, how to install it. All of that can get you started in that direction. Then also, as I mentioned, there's a lot of university resources. For instance, the library. The library's got a big catalog online. I've got quite a lot of workshops that I also do. Some of the workshops are very well structured to do research and finding the information within the online catalog. But then also we've got our support and regional services. So if you are close to a regional office, for instance, the Western Cape, remember they've got various service offerings. So have a look what services they actually provide. Go make use of the computer labs, the library. All of the people at the regions are there to support you. So even if you get stuck, on how to access ADOVH, the platform, all of them have been informed. They can help you get started on your digital journey. And then lastly, just our community. Remember, we are going to be building on this community. But for this one, you'll also have your last activity. So this will be activity 6. And this is where we want to find out from you, what resources do you use? So go out, what support groups that you find? Share your findings with us and reflect on your findings and engage with peers, share the information so that we can build each other up towards these digital skills that we need for current online learning and for the workplace. So really, identifying and utilizing online resources is a big aspect. So build up, your knowledge base from trusted resources so you can fall back on them. Learn how the library catalogs work. Do it as early on in your study career that when you get to your research level, you are familiar with how to use it. And then also, as mentioned, just build up that foundation for your digital skills as early as possible so we can build on top of that. So as I mentioned, this activity, please go and do it. This is the last activity within the series. And this is basically where you come to us and you share what was your, what platforms you use, which ones work effectively. And, maybe in the future, we'll include that as well, one of those resources for other people as well. Then just lastly, so is the post assessment. So again, we've got prizes. As mentioned, we already have the prize winners as well for the ones that did the homework. But still, if you want to grab a prize, please go complete the post assessment. I will post the link in the chat right now. Because you have gone now through the activity or the workshop. So please go and do this work post assessment. You will actually see the questions are quite similar to the pre-assessment, but a bit different. Where the first one was to see, do you know the concept of it or what it's about? This one now actually delves in a little bit more to see, do you actually understand the concepts underneath them? So I'm going to give you some time. You can scan the QR code on the chat. For the YouTube viewers, I won't forget you. I'll quickly go to your chat as well. Just post in the link directly, so you can just copy that URL and open it up and complete the post assessment. So while you're doing that, so I just want to talk to you about the next step for this program. So this was the real foundation that we built right now. We wanted to give everybody a strong foundation which we can now build upon. So really start using the community, engage with the community. We will also interact within the community to support you, and guide you as well. Complete the activities that's available on ADOVH as well that we showed, where you can easily access them. This will really build up that foundation that you need. And what's upcoming for the program? We're going to release it, as we mentioned at the beginning, over the next 3 years. But we're going to build up. So the next one will really be about productivity tools, creative tools, planning tools in Microsoft 365 and from various platforms. And then finally, we'll push that over to the more advanced skills so that you really feel comfortable using these various tools. So it's going to be quite fun, the productivity tools. That's where we, for instance, introduce you to OneNote, and we introduce you to Sway to create your online portfolio already, or even a little blog space. So there's various tools that we introduce, and we always try and introduce the most current tools as well. So that's why we can't commit to say it will be that, because next year there might be a new big thing, then we will follow on top of that. Now, as we highlighted, upcoming programs are still coming this year. We've got an AI masterclass, so we will invite all of you to the AI masterclass as well, really to get that prompt engineering, so you can get the correct information from your AI. We'll also have a mobile learning masterclass. So I know a lot of students are currently using their mobile phones for all their learning, online learning, and we'll really introduce you to the apps on the mobile device, how you use various apps between each other to really be able to use the device successfully. And then, as always, we will invite industry speakers, such from Microsoft we had already, but we will try and get as broad a range of speakers as possible. And then we also have a close relationship with Microsoft. So when they release some of their certified courses, usually you have to pay for the exams, but they do give us members, how can I say, a certain number that they will train for free, and then you can do the examinations as well. So we'll definitely let you know first when that becomes available. So I'm just quickly, before we jump into conclusion, I just want to check on the responses for the post-assessment. To see how many responses we've got so far. Okay, so while I'm opening that, so just the conclusion for this evening, this really set the foundation for you how to navigate the internet more effectively, how to conduct research. Hopefully you learned quite a lot through the various tools that you can use, how you can actually evaluate the information online, but really keep, continuous development, keep refining your web browsing and online skills, go do those activities, share with the community what you've learned, stay updated to new tools. As we said, currently everything is about continuous learning. So try and really always keep up to breast with the latest news. And then, yeah, stay curious, and keep learning. Technology might be daunting when you start, but you can actually find your feet very quickly, and then you grow so quickly, you will find it interesting. So really go have a look at that. And then, yeah, engage with the online community, for instance, Women in Tech, join those communities. That's where you really network, and that's what will actually create job opportunities for you in the future, or find mentorship as well. And we will definitely invite people from those areas to come and speak to you as in the future. Okay, so I see we've got quite a few responses already. I'm just gonna have a look here quickly so we can announce some of the winners for today. Yeah.
Okay, so Richard, I'll do the drum roll.
Okay, so I'm gonna just quickly just make sure we don't have too many duplicates. Let's see there. It doesn't look like we've got any duplicates for this evening, really. So let me. Yeah, let me just copy this over. So I'll post it in the chat. There's quite a few winners this evening. So I'll post the names in the chat. So we will send you an email just to confirm that you your credentials. Unfortunately, you will only be able to give one prize. So if your name come up twice, you know, for the homework or for the completing the post assessment, unfortunately, we will only give you one prize. But I will post the names in the chat. So congratulations to all of you that's currently in the chat. For those on YouTube, I'll post it in the chat as well. I see there is a question as well. How long does this program take? So remember, the program is currently, we run it over 3 years, but for instance, this is one section of it, is the foundational skills. Next year we do the intermediate skills, and then we go to advanced. So it is a program that has various aspects to it. It's, for instance, the mentorships and the speakers, all of that come in. So it doesn't have a set duration, but for instance, this part of it that we did now, you should be able to do within almost 16 hours if you do all the activities. Yeah, I'm just quickly gonna put these. I see on YouTube, unfortunately, I have to put it in, split them up into 2 chats. So you should be able to hopefully identify your name. Unfortunately, for Tonwa, your name is split over 2 lines. But yes, congratulations to all of you that won. But remember, you are all winners for joining this session this evening. And thank you so much for, this was the first release of this. We will definitely rerun this specific one as well if you want to recap. But as I mentioned, we are going to build up into the future on top of this. So for lastly, I'm just going to ask Dr. Denzel Chetty if you've got any last words. And then just to mention as well, we will post the evaluation in the chat. As please complete the evaluations. It really helps us in the future to see where we can improve on any of these aspects that we have covered. Dr. Chetty? I think Dr. Chetty might be already in another meeting. He's also very busy with the UN, and I know they actually start at 8 o'clock, so I think we just missed him. But everyone, thank you for joining. We'll stay in touch. Please enjoy your weekend. You know, go finish those fun activities, and we will see you within the next one. All the best to you. Bye.
Bye, guys, and all the best. See you soon.